Hi, this is W. Eric Martin with Board Game Geek News. I'm here with Todd Rowland with Alderac Entertainment Group. And that's the first time I've actually said your last name out loud.
Yes.
Is that correct?
It's Roland.
Roland. All right,
yes.
good. Good to meet you.
That's all right.
How are things going with Smash Up so far?
It's going fantastic. You know, we actually brought more of Smash Up to Gen Con this year than any board game, any game we've ever brought in the history of AEG. And we are about to be sold out probably today.
Okay.
So we are very excited.
And now you showed the game initially at Gamma. It already had an interesting, it had an interesting sound to it, different feel. What do you contribute to the success of the game so far here?
Well, I think that the biggest thing has been, it's twofold. Number one, it's kind of a light, funny game. We try to keep everything really humorous and accessible and, not too heavy. And then secondly, the game just teaches so quickly. The game has basically 4 things you do in a turn, and most of the strategy and the tactics come from the cards themselves. So learning the game is very quick, and then it's just a matter of figuring out what the cards do and finding the cool combos. There's so many times when a player will be playing for the first time, and they'll play this combo that plays like 7 cards out, and they're like, oh, that was awesome! And they didn't expect it to happen, and then all of a sudden it happens, and they have a really good time with it. And so that's been a big part of people catching on, and we've seen it played out in restaurants and places around Indy, and people are having a really good time with it.
So it seems to as well have that potato chip feel. You're just going to shuffle up again and just go right at it. Yeah,
and you just go right at it. And the thing is, as light and funny as it is, we did put a lot of concern and thought into making the factions feel like they're supposed to feel like. The dinosaurs are all about strength and power, and all of their effects deal with power and who's bigger than who.
And lasers.
And lasers.
For historical accuracy.
Indeed, my 6 and 4-year-old convinced me that they needed lasers. They're credited in the rule book.
Okay.
And so, for instance, the pirates are all about moving about. I move from this base to this base, setting sail and everything, and going everywhere. So you do get a distinct feel for every group, and then you can try all the different combinations and see which way they go.
And you've already been showing off artwork with plants, ghosts. What else was there?
Well, there's plants, ghosts, there's steampunks coming as well, and there's also bear cavalry.
And this is an expansion due out later in 2012?
We are aiming for December or January. We're not quite sure where we're going to hit, but we should be. Our hope would be December. We want to get in before Christmas, but it may not happen, so, saying it on the record, but it could be January.
Okay. And the name again is?
Smash Up Awesome Level 9000.
Now that obviously suggests many other expansion name possibilities when you get in here. Do you have a roster in AEG headquarters?
In fact, I told everybody we have a spreadsheet of additional factions and theme pairings that goes for several pages, and it's just a matter of, wow, which one do we think would be the coolest to put together? And we're thinking possibly of doing some theme sets in the future if multiple factions are kind of the same, or we may just keep them completely mixed up. We're not entirely sure which way we want to go with that yet. So.
And will the expansion be playable standalone as well?
You could play the expansion standalone. It only has 4 factions, so you'd basically be a 2-player game. But it will have a little rule book. It'll be in a smaller box, so the rule book will be a little bit smaller, but it'll all have the same rules. The great thing about Smash Up is that each expansion that we've developed so far adds no rules to the game. It's all the same rule book over and over. So you can just take that little box, open it up, throw it away, put those into this box, which was designed to hold extra decks. So, as you can see, there's room for more.
Now, I follow you on Twitter, see lots of news come up here. One of the things you stressed in a number of different times is the importance of finding the right name for a game. I remember you talking about this at various points. Yeah. What were some of the other names that were considered for Smash Up?
Oh, okay. Well, originally the game was called Pirate Ninja Zombie Robot, and we had started calling it during places. We called it Panzer, PNZR. And then one of our boss got on a kick that he wanted to call it Panzer, and I'm like, that's not really going to work, John. It's about tanks, And so we went back and forth, and we tried some different names. We tried we tried just Awesome Crash and just all these random names. And finally, Smash Up just sort of stood out because it really encapsulated what it was. Like, you're smashing up the decks, you're smashing up the bases, and it's general enough that it's not tied to any of the factions in the game, so we can continuously change. We can have anything come along that we want. Cyber monkeys, cowboys, whatever, and it still fits the name.
Right. I like it too. It also goes with mashup, just with the nice play in on that. I'm sure. Anything else to announce, or all set?
Well, we're going to have the Tempest games coming at Essen. I know you guys are going to look to talk to Ed today, so I'll let him talk about those. We also have a surprise game release coming at Essen. We're not telling anybody anything about it other than that it is coming. It is not related to any of our existing titles, and you can look for that. It'll have its own booth at Essen, so everybody be on the lookout for that. You won't miss it. I'll promise you that you won't miss it. Other than that, we're just very excited about the games we got coming out this fall.
Are you going to have any contests related to the content of this game? I can see lots of possibilities for this. Guess the name of our game.
Actually, a guess the name of the game contest could be really interesting because there's no information out about it. So actually, if you even get in the ballpark, we might be able to award somebody something. So we'll think about that.
I am full of ideas, Todd. I'll just lay that out. Scott has heard a lot of my ideas. I think they've been awesome so far. So.
I'm sure they have been. I'm sure Scott will agree with you. Thank you very much. Thank you.